so well.
Thank you. Hi, Alberto, how are you? Very nice to meet you. Joanna.
I think so. Giovanna should be here. Hi. Hi.
Giovanna, nice to meet you.
She can sit anywhere. It's okay. Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, panelists, to be here today. This is very diversified panel, if I can say that.
Yes.
Alberto? Alberto? Please.
Sorry, Federico.
The Italian usually are the most naughty to put in order. Thank you for being here today, and thanks for you to be on the stage. This is a very diversified panel. Even there are 3 PIF entities. There are 3 PIF entities, very diverse between itself. Roshna is born as affordable housing. There is Daria Gate, a more cultural side. There is King Abdullah Financial District that is high-rise buildings. There is also one of the top private sector developer in Riyadh, Ozus. And there is my very good friend, Mahan. I would like to have a chance if you have 1 minute to introduce yourself before I start with the uncomfortable questions.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks. Very nice meeting you all. Thank you, Federico, for the introduction. So my name is Alberto. I'm the Vice President for Real Estate Development with CAF, the King Abdullah Financial District. So I am responsible for all the, let's say, the future developments and the new projects that need to happen in CAF. Well, for those of you who are familiar with CAF, what you see is very much only is a third of what we need to build. We have 2 big master plans, east and west of the current site. So that's where my attention is in developing and designing the future expansion. So there's about 2.5 million square meters of GFA of mixed-use development that we're currently planning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you, everybody. My name is Ma'an Bajnaid. I'm an architect, being raised and born in Saudi Arabia with an international exposure. In our assets, we have 2 nominations of the Aga Khan Award of Architecture and a couple of others, international and local awards. We believe in the culture. We believe in the future. We are happy with the change. We celebrate competitiveness. I'm the 7th designer in my family after my grandfather, and I have 5 after coming me. So we take care of the reputation and the details and the beauty to fabricate such a wonderful statuistic moment, not just only as a building, but as an experience from the moment you sense it. We focus a lot about whom we are to represent what we're going to give and exchange with others, whether it's financial, buildings, hospitality, and so on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahan. Hamdi?
I'm Hamdi Shishtawi. I'm working for Osus Real Estate. I'm the Projects Development Director. Osus Real Estate is a private developer and would like to express my appreciation to the organizers of Saudi Expo 2024. And thank you, Federico, for moderating this panel. And looking for the opportunity to participate in this conversation. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very good.
So, my name is Naji Siriani. I am representing Dir'iyya today, as you mentioned. I'm an architect by trade. I worked in the hospitality industry development for the last, 20 years. Recently, I joined Dir'iyya to develop the hospitality portfolio with other colleagues, of course. You mentioned Dir'iyya as a cultural asset. Dir'iyya as a city. Dir'iyya is as big as Geneva. So I think it has cultural, it has offices, it has residential, it has hospitality, it has everything. So I just wanted to clarify this point.
Probably culture was the wrong way. I was more in the heritage side.
We can clarify this during the conversation.
Please.
Thank you.
Giovanna?
Good afternoon. Thank you
Ciao.
for you. Ciao. Buongiorno. So, as the title says, I'm representing Roshin, and I'm the executive director of urban planning. So what is Roshin? Who am I? Or just present yourself. I think I'm representing the national developer. Is a part of PIF. Our remit is to achieve 70% of ownership, Saudi ownership of the housing. So it's very, I think it's very challenging, but it's very meaningful for the country. And I think we have an incredible opportunity to provide a very humanitarian, I think, help, because architects are very humanitarian in the sense we are creating housing, we are creating spaces and where we live, when we work, where we spend our time. And then if we are able to do so, it's an incredible achievement for Roshin and for us.
Thank you. First question is for you, so don't leave the microphone.
Okay.
Roshin, I believe, changed a little bit the DNA from when started to what are you providing now? What's happened? How you started, and who is Roshin today?
So Roshin started as a CDC, which is the development company, and then 2020 was founded Roshin as we are now. It started as a housing developer, but for social, more addressing to affordable housing. And now it's any type of, let's say, we are developing communities. Actually, the first statement that Roshin presented when he became Roshin says, living behind the walls. So we really want to break the walls literally from communities. You know, when you travel in Riyadh, when you pass through the different, roads, and then you see there are walls constantly, walls between, they create that literally the barrier between the streets and the private life. That's what we want to break. And that's what was the first steps that we did in our communities. We wanted to break the walls. We wanted to create open community where people are free to move, join the amenities, retail, commercial, going to school, normal, like normal meaning like in a freeway, like in a city. And that is what we want to even achieve more by including mixed use. We included also not only single family, but also multifamily housing. And we really would like to create a piece of city as we intended to the city as we normally live.
Thanks a lot. First question for the developer, private or public. Design is the DNA, so you produce what has been designed. What are the key element or key factors you are looking for in a design to be selected for your projects? How you are criteria? What you are looking for in a designer to present to you to say, okay, wow, this might have, I would like this design for me.
So this is a very good question, and this is something that we discuss with the many architects we try to work with all the time. First of all, we put a lot of care in the selection of the design team in itself, right? So we need to make sure that we want to work with international recognized brands of architecture, but we want to choose those that have sort of experience, that have already exposed their design, and they're starting to learn what is the local culture here. So context is extremely important. One of the things that we hear again and again is that when we present our designs, even all the way to the Crown Prince, is does this look like Riyadh? We need to create the kind of architecture that somehow develops an existing DNA, and CAFT is unique in that sense because it's already a mix of very different styles, but somehow the quantity of it has now evolved and developed into its own architectural style. So we ask all the design firms we want to work with to look at what's around and how we can actually take it and develop it to the next level. So we want to bring innovation, but the innovation in design also needs to respect and reflect your surrounding and the context. So it's amazing though, like when we do pre-qualification and we look for design firms that come from abroad, how little awareness there is of the richness in the architectural heritage which is here. In the 80s, the contemporary architecture in Riyadh and in Saudi is plenty of very good fine examples of of good designs, and those are the ones that we want to make sure that people understand, absorb, and learn before they come and propose their design. I was saying, it's amazing how many design teams, they put their proposal and they show their design, and the inspiration comes from the camel next to the palm in the middle of the desert. So when we see that, that's it. You're off the. You're not gonna get invited next time around. If that's what you think Saudi Arabia is, this is the wrong project for you.
What is for you the design in Saudi Arabia? We say is the wrong approach. What is the right approach? Okay, no camel, no palm, but
first of all, I always say being in Saudi, being in Riyadh today is like being in Florence in 1480, right? We're witnessing really a renaissance of a country. We have an amazing exposure to. We're the luck that we have the possibility to bring the best talent globally to contribute to the creation of a new capital for the nation and for the region. So, you need to learn from the architectural examples that already exist. That's how you create something which is contextual and fits with the purpose of what we're trying to do. We are innovating because we're introducing like a vertical living. We're introducing different kind of neighborhood. We're bringing lots of things that maybe experiences that they come from abroad, but you cannot just copy and paste them. You need to adapt them and transform it so they feel local. They feel like they belong to the community, because only if you create something that the community will then endorse and love, it will be successful. Otherwise, it will not work as a project.
Thanks. Hamdi?
Almost the same thoughts, but we believe that the true power of design lies in how the design can elevate the lifestyle and make life easier for the end users and for the residents. And our design philosophy goes around understanding the expectations and go beyond these expectations, whether in crafting the residential homes or retail destinations or welcome hospitality or inspiring offices. We have the same philosophy in elevating the lifestyle of our end users in most cases. The design it should be the client centric. You have to put the client or the end user in the heart of the design process since the beginning, from the conception and the objectives, the initial objectives of the design. So it's all about how the end user will have unforgettable experience using these developments or these end products.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Naji?
So, from our side in Dir'iyya, I think we have a beautiful and difficult task at the same time. Dir'iyya is the founding place of this great nation. Tomorrow's National Day. Happy National Day, everyone. I think what we try to look for is locality first. Najdi is a big element in our DNA, and it's a big part of our search for the right design. At the same time, we do not accept to go for the first level Najdi or the surface. Some designers, they scratch the surface, they Google Najdi, find a couple of images that we have seen 10 years ago, or maybe whenever you start looking for Najdi architecture, and they present it to you. This is not what we are looking for. We are trying to link past and future together. We are trying to say that this location, Riyadh, and specifically Dir'iyya, are very special, are very close to our hearts, let's say, as a developer, as a mixed-use developer, and to the heart of this nation and these people. And we want it to be special. We don't want it to be gimmicky. We don't want it to be just an expression of something that looks like something that was great at some point. We want to create the next, let's say, future city that is Dir'iyya, but while respecting the past of this nation. Looking at Turayf, which is a great destination, looking at how the Saudi new generation can support in making this bridge between the two, because they know, I realized at some point when I started working that even there is a Najdi dialect, like the way, so it's really special in all its aspect, and this is the beauty of this place, and that's what we try to portray. We tap into international architects, but we also work with local architects and local, let's say, specialists to make this happen. And I think that's the special thing about the building in Dir'iyya.
Combination, special combination.
Yes.
Miss Giovanna.
Well, I have to say that you did a great job. You are doing a great job, really, seriously. Because I'm Italian and some of us too, and you know how important is the genius loci and how important is the identity of a place. And this identity creates the unicity that doesn't have to be always never seen before or like nothing related to this planet Earth. But the unicity and the identity of a place belongs to the history of what we have been living in the culture. And that's, I mean, in Roshin also we take this very pretty much in consideration. We are developing communities, as I said. We are strictly trying to understand and decodify the Salmani language and try to get our communities really rooted to what is Riyadh and what is the identity. In this case, I mean Riyadh, because we have Seder is one of the flagship projects, but we are working across all the country. We really want to understand what is the architectural language, what is the origin and the root of this country, which makes this country unique and different from Italy, for example. And that, I think, is the challenge that international architects sometimes, they don't get it too much.
And thanks for that. And because you are developing different part of Saudi Arabia, you are expecting that the architect adapt to the different place in Saudi Arabia in their way to the architectural as part of the master plan in this case?
Yes, they should. I mean, according to us, we should. I mean, there are MOMRA developed architecture guidelines, and then according to mainly 4 regions, and then we try to adapt our architecture according to these 4 regions and Roshanize it somehow. But yes, we need to. We have to, I think. That's what makes unique, sah?
Yes, I agree.
They Roshanize it, we Najdify it. No, but I just want to touch on something. Some architects, international architects, they tap into Saudi architectural elements. It could be Al-Ula, it could be Jeddah, it could be Khubar, it could be... Our role is to really bring them back into what we want to achieve in this development, and not be gimmicky, because if you are developing in Jeddah, it has its specificity, and that's the beauty of this region, and looking at building in this region without building, for example, glass towers. I remember one of our university teachers, he used to tell us, you guys are designing glass towers and then you're like working really hard to do the right climatization, light them up, heat them if needed, and this is the wrong architecture in this location. When you look at Sulaimani architecture that you mentioned, or Najdi architecture, these guys have answered climate questions, weather questions, temperature questions, sun and wind questions. They have answered so many cultural questions, social questions. Why don't we take this and use it for the benefit of this specific region? And that's what we may be trying to do as well.
Thank you, Naj. Mahan, you are a good friend.
Thank you.
You are award-winning Saudi Arabia architect.
Thank you.
As far as I remember, you were involved also in the studios, in Neom, in the studio project next to Qiddiya. So you have quite a good reputation, quite a good experience in Saudi Arabia. Are you working with these guys?
The quick answer is no.
And I ask you why.
Okay, it's a complicated answer actually, and it goes through layers of what has been happening. let's admit with a fact and face it. The architectural and the engineering industry as a Saudi market is weak, is not strong. But this doesn't strip us from the right to compete. So that's the first point is given. Because we've been celebrating good architecture for the past 30 years. There was a coma or a sleeping period that we haven't done that much wonderful thing because the system has been changed. But if you want to take a step back and go to Albert Speers, for instance, and the relation between the father and the son. The father, the Nazis, the Cathedral of Lights, the beauty, the meanings, and the context. But the son, the diplomatic quarter, a magnificent jewel in the heart of Riyadh, a soft power, and it's been done from the 70s. We've took care of the water gutters over there at that time, but it means that there wasn't being that much development in order to compete in that period. So when I come back to this third part, which is the context, how could we respond back to the context and how could we respond back to the developers? From myself, there's the hat of the architect and there's the heart of the real estate developers. By nature, we are real estate developers. And we understand what does real estate developers, and sometimes you have the client, you go as a budget cost or the Windex cost, how much economical the project should be. But when we come to the stage that's taken place since the past 5-6 years, I will ask you, how many Saudi architects within those 3 PIF entities has developed a master project for the board and it's been approved? I can tell you the number is 0. Why? Is this a shame, or this is a lack of competitiveness or lack of understanding? Maybe I have the guts and the right to voice this out, because maybe I'm in both. But how to compete, this is the answer. And the responsibility, I think, lays much more on you gentlemen, because you are advocating the essence of the project and the heart of the project. I'll come to one critical point is, how would you develop, how would you face it, and how would you bring it out? Yes, you've called for Saudi architects, and you've seen the portfolios, and you've seen the project, and you've seen the quality, and it's not that much competitive. But when I take Dir'iyya, for instance, it's about breaking the code. Ricardo Buffel, Scatarella, they are one of the 2 people who've been able to break the details of the beauty of the code and create that boldness of the moment to celebrate, as a real estate developer, the human experience. How would they move from a place to another? There is a downside in it. I have the right to criticize it. It's my country. And I have the right to celebrate it because I enjoy it more than anything. But when you see the lack of connecting the dots, we are architects about connecting the dots. And there is missing. And when we are done from here, I believe everybody should ask themselves, why aren't they on the stage? Why there is no Saudi architect on the stage in those projects? The answer should be very wonderful. You should grow them up. You should give them the trust. You have the trust.
I'll answer. I'll give a first answer to that. So first of all, in CAFT we actually run a couple of design programs where we spent a lot of time shortlisting young, upcoming firms in Riyadh, because we want to actually discover talent and we want to promote talent, because there's lots of young professionals who would die to work for a client like CAFT. So we actually have done a framework agreement with some of these companies, because not every project we do is a 90-story tower, and therefore we have space for these young architects, because I totally agree with what you say. It is our responsibility, but we also have a responsibility to the shareholder to make sure that we procure the design teams that can deliver the project that we're trying to do. So often our projects are of a scale that really you need a large design team that can cope for the amount of information in detail that needs to be prepared. In addition, though, every architect that comes from abroad, it is paired with an architect from Riyadh or from Saudi. So all our designs, although maybe we have the signature, the famous name, is always a collaboration between the big brand name and the Saudi-based architect, who they work together, because we want to make sure that there is this transfer of knowledge, this exchange of information about sort of local culture, because there are certain things that unless you are an architect who has worked in this country, an international architect just will not get. So we're trying actually to pair the two, so we can. And I think this is beneficial because the international architect gets to learn, and also the local or the Riyadh-based architect gets to learn from what's come from abroad. So I think is something that can be done. And with time, like you say, the architectural practice is still weak, but it's growing very fast. So now we are in a world where we can see this evolution, and in 20 years' time, there will be no architects coming from abroad because you will have your own beautifully developed design expertise.
Federico,
Yes.
may I say something?
I like
Please,
when
I just,
I just facilitate a debate. As much as we speak, as much they, I believe, enjoy. So please.
Anymore. No. What I want to say something. I mean, really, you spot on in your point. So let me tell you what we are doing and what I have been doing in the past. I mean, also in my previous life before. So first of all, I feel honored to work in such an amazing country that is really under an incredible revolution of way we live in all senses. Because I think that KSA will become, or is already, the test bed for the way we want to live the present and the future, and then export whatever technology or way we live or in the urban living abroad. So Europe is old, the rest of the world is old. This is the new, this is the reality, and this is the future. Because also, I mean, according to the census, what is the average, the age that we have?
37, 38.
No, I think it's less, 27.
That's 7 years old.
Yeah, I think it's even less. I think it's 27. But anyway, I mean, nothing compared to Europe, in which I think the average is 65.
Yeah, of course.
No, but I'm joking regarding Europe, but that's my point. I mean, I think because it's very young population, and because you are really in a high transformation process. So our team, for example, is composed by 55% of Saudi, and most of them are young, and we want to be mentor of them, and then we want them to grow and to develop their own way, I mean, of building. But on top of it, I mean, we as Roshin, we are part of the Mushama initiative from PIF that they want to promote the local talent. So we are actually, 3 days ago, has been launched an open competition for students for one side that was launched for WPIF. We are doing together with them. And then we wanted to launch also for young architecture offices, up to 10 years of experience. And they're open to everyone. And actually, whoever will win will be the awards ceremony will be in February. We want to promote an itinerant exhibition that goes all across KSA, because everybody needs to understand, also through the universities, because for the next generation, so for the next year, we want more people even to apply, because we want to provide to everyone a voice. I mean, to work. In this case, the site is the community area in Cedra, and then we want them to develop housing, then facilities like mosques, like a school, like the center, the community center, and the public realm. So they are, I mean, they are free to develop whatever they want, to project to develop whatever they want. And we can also build it. So, and I think by answer to your question, yes, we should have more Saudi architects by far. And this is a matter of time. And I think Alberto also said.
But this is just only to follow up on these 2 points. Time is money. And money is like not being circulated within the society and the community of the local offices. And I don't like to call them the local offices. I call them the original spirits of the space and the place. So when time is money, the time that has passed to catch up with the opportunity, yes, there is a lot of opportunities to come, but the time has passed to mark your presence in the market. I know that 55% of the people are the young minds, but they're not equipped with the ability to take decisions because they're still young, of course. And this is what I want to make sure that we want to chase up the timing. Time is money. And the decisions are taken forever to understand how is our climate, what is our details of DNA of beauty, what is our detail of DNA of the way we live. We've introduced so many housing solutions. Actually, my father 2 days ago sent me a link of the competition. And he asked me and your sister go and compete. And I said, thank you, I don't want. Because the sense of the competitiveness has been stripped from the market. And it's not there. I really believe it's what's written in the doctrine and the documents of all of the policies of the PIF companies. But the reality is different.
On our side, I can tell you something that I realized when I start. I've been working in Saudi since 2005, along with other countries. But living in Saudi, working with the Saudis is different. And I can tell you something. I was thinking when I was coming here today, what makes this country different from the other Gulf states and the region? In Saudi, you work with the Saudis, not for the Saudis. And this is beautiful. And this is something that I realized when I joined the Raya. A big majority of our staff are Saudis. And Imran, my colleague, mentioned it a couple of days ago. And a part of these are from actually the Raya. And for me, this is a beautiful way of contributing as an expat, because I am an expat, to the local community that is actually sitting next to me. My colleague, my direct colleague, is a Saudi lady from the Raya, and she's an architect, and she's qualified. Definitely not qualified like someone with your experience, but this is coming. We have the same competition that actually just closed now and got the board approval of Saudi talent, Saudi architects that worked hand in hand with international, because this mix of international and local is what will bring us forward. We had the same thing in Lebanon a few years ago when we developed the downtown Beirut. It was always a mix of an international architect and the local architect. We had a lot of people objecting to this, but in my opinion, this is what brings us up. At the same time, I'm going to give you a different example. Let's move away from local offices. What we are doing in Dir'iyah, for example, is building hotels, right? We are bringing around 40 international brands to the Saudi market and to the regional market. These brands might not be heard of today, but this is how you elevate the experience. This is how you bring to the market something that people have not seen before, have not tested before. You mentioned the time. We have time, my friend. I believe that we should not rush things. We have time. We all have time. No country has been built in 5 years. And I think this awareness that you mentioned today in front of all these people is what we need to make these local architects be an integral part of what is happening in this city and in this country. So I think we have all the elements to make this happen. What we don't have is what you mentioned at the end. You don't want to participate in the competition. I think if you do that switch and you come back to us, we will together do it.
It's the frustration.
No, we will kill the frustration, no problem. Let's think positive.
No, we're positive, definitely. I'm a son of the country and I have to live with it.
But in the private sector, there is a different opinion. We're working with Saudi. Is it working?
Yeah.
In the private, with the private developer, we work with the Saudi consultants in most of our projects. And plus having more than 55% of Saudi architects in the design management team. I know they are still young, but we are working with well-established and great minds of Saudi architects in either in Riyadh or in Mecca. We have more than five developments with Saudi architects. And also we work with international firms, design firms, because we believe that in private sector it's a bit different than the PIF projects. We are more focused on the return on investment, because most of the international architects, you will find that their projects are built on the return on ego, not the return on the investment. So it's a bit different. So that's why we are focusing in the diversity of having the different minds and different thinking of different concepts by having the connection and the networking with the lead professionals in the market.
Developers are the best clients for the architects. This is well known. Otherwise, architects will never survive. That's the equation of the market. No doubt about it. Yes, we've been surviving with the definitely of the international offices and practice and developers. But again, there is a beautiful market and opportunity that we want to celebrate in it. That's the spirit of the competitiveness. This is what we're looking for.
I don't see it frustrated. I don't see the frustration you are talking about. Maybe it's the market is expanding in a very fast momentum, and there is of course they want to challenge the time. So that's why we will get the architect of a similar project or the iconic project, so he can make it more fast and make it more miscoordinated and overcome all gaps.
You believe in democracy?
Of course.
Fine. How many Saudi architects in this room are in aligned with what just expressed? Please put your hands up. How many architects, Saudi local talent over here, are aligned with what I've been saying about the opportunities in the big project? Thank you.
100%. He's the only architect in the room.
Try to go a little bit softer. I know that maybe I provoke a little bit with an uncomfortable question initially.
No.
The title of the panel is Design, Development, Real Estate Investment Shaping Saudi Arabian Future. In your point of view, at the moment we are following a main guideline that is Saudi Vision 2030. What is working? What has been achieved? What you like that the Saudi Vision gave to the Saudi Arabia, and what is missing? What has been achieved and what is missing in the design and real estate market in Saudi Arabia? Follow the guideline and the indication from the Saudi 2030.
I think a lot of it has been achieved. I wasn't sure what's been missing. What I really enjoy is that when I look at all these projects that are happening, how they're all pieces of a jigsaw or of a beautiful vision that has been, which is the vision that we share that we want to try and deliver. So what CAFT is doing complements what the RIA is doing. It goes together with what Roshan is doing, and is actually paving the way for the private sector, the private investors to come, because often actually we take on the development of some of those projects that not all the time are necessarily money-making projects, but they actually pay the way for the rest of the economy to thrive. So I see all of us, I totally agree with Giovanna. It's a huge honor and pleasure to be here in this time, because we really we're part of a renaissance, of a transformation of the country. And I also like what Naji was saying. We're not working for the Saudi, we're working with the Saudi. This is the huge difference between Saudi Arabia and the rest of the GCC countries. The expat population is a minority here. Here we're developing an internal market. Every time we create something, it's for the Saudi market. Every time we train someone, is the next generation of Saudi. So we are completely embedded and integrated with the local sort of community of developers, creators, and thinkers of the future. So it's fantastic.
Mahan?
I'll pass it for
When you think about the Vision 2030, the beauty of it is that it's a dream, as you said, and it's a beautiful dream, because actually imagine if the leaders of this country said, we're going to fix the roads, we're going to build a couple of schools, and we're going to do some landscape. This is not a dream. This is not a vision. What we are witnessing all together is a very beautiful dream. And what I'm realizing as we go every day, every morning, is that we are adjusting according to what will make this dream happen. I am a positive person by nature, and I believe that if you are in this country, you have to believe in the dream and you have to make it happen. You have to find all the ways and all the possible trades and possible opportunities to make it happen, because you are living here, you are living with this community, with the Saudis, and you are taking part of this renaissance. You have no right but to make it happen. What is missing is, I think, a little bit more belief in what we are all trying to achieve. That's my personal opinion. And a drive to say it will happen and we will make it happen. Because, again, Saudi is not a small country. I used to work for a hospitality operator, and we built all around Saudi along with other countries. But we have discovered that Saudi has mountains like our Lebanese mountains. It has beaches, it has beautiful deserts, it has Al-Ula, which is like the Grand Canyon. Maybe people compare it to the Grand Canyon in some way. So this country has a lot of potential. The vision has a lot of potential. And what is missing is all of us making sure that we are working day and night, not only to benefit from this renaissance, because this is what sometimes you hear, you know, it's great to be here because this is the latest gold rush. It's not a gold rush. It's actually all of us experts. We are here because we are experts in our fields. I've done hotels for the last 20 years. That's why I'm here today. But I'm here because I believe that what we are going to build in the next 5 years, 10 years, is the best new hotels, the latest levels of hospitality, and you should look at the innovation part of this. I think there's a couple of questions on this. And how are we going to make it happen all together as experts, local and experts?
Thank you. You were speaking about innovation. Innovation in the design. How you see is implemented in the design at the moment in Saudi Arabia?
Myself? Saudi Arabia, I think, is a big question if we discuss Saudi Arabia. If I want to talk about Dir'iyah, we are trying to link, as I said, Dir'iyah and push it towards the future. Innovation can come in different ways, and I mean, we can talk about big subjects like sustainability, like AI that was discussed in the panel before us, like other types of innovation. But there's also innovations in construction, innovation in contracting jobs, making the development of Dir'iyah faster, you know, reaching our goals faster in terms of design or construction. Innovation in modular architecture. So we realized that some of our developments or some of our assets could be worked out in a modular way, which is still a shy innovation because it requires volume as well as technology. So the technology is there, but the volume is not there. In developments like what we are doing in Saudi, in Dir'iyah, in Roshan and other places, modular can be a part of that exercise. A lot of, I don't know, I mean, I don't want to talk about all the innovations, and then there's so many examples, and I think every developer, every entity, every public private or public sector investor and developer is looking at innovations because we cannot shy away from that.
I think, as I didn't know if it worked. So I think, as I said before, I think in general, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, it's for me the platform of any kind of test in general for innovation, but at all scales, for design, construction, but even the way we work together. So digital platforms as well, but also the way, and hence the way we live. And so at really any level. So it depends on the project. Some of them can be more disruptive, some other less. in terms of disruption, but not in terms of innovative way of we do things. Because most of the projects are working, a part of yours probably, but in greenfield situation, which is very challenging because you need to build all the infrastructure because you have nothing around. But at the same time, it's an incredible opportunity to test whatever you want to implement probably elsewhere in the world, from the waste management treatment for the ex-smart city, and for me is a cognitive city approach, to the way we want to implement some technologies into the construction system, to the modular approach or MMC approach in general, not only modular. So for the way also we wanted to work digitally together, so implement any type of GIS system that probably you don't have in the rest of the world. It is already massified and hyper-urbanized. So, and I think this goes from the planning perspective, look at the line, it's an experiment, to the RIA, and also enhancing the identity of a place in such a way that you mixed past and the future. And this is a disruption in any way because you make something that you cannot be reproduced in New York. So I think, yeah, when you talk about innovation, it's about across everything. I think we have the platform here to cover everything in terms of innovation.
Thank you, Giovanni. Hamdi, for a big developer in the private sector.
Yes, in the private sector, yes, we use, of course, we use the electronics and the updated design trends, starting from the planning. But we use it also in an extensive way, so we can gather and analyze the customer experience journey within our existing project, because these invaluable insights, this is form the design strategy for the new projects. So we use electronic platform to gather the customer experience from the existing projects and try to avoid any miscommunication or coordination or adding amenities or adding what will make the life easier for the user of the new developments. So yes, we use the design platforms, the electronic design platforms and the modelers and these technology, but yani, in addition, we use the most important benefit of the technology is to gather information, because information this will make you innovate a different or upgraded design or uplifted design. So yeah, yes, this is how we think about the innovation and using of technology in our developments.
Thank you a lot. What is it for you as?
Innovation is a very dear word for me, actually. I've obtained my master's degree back in 2012 in leading innovation and change. And I wanted to understand the methodology of that science, how to take it as a design to make it as a change formation. Since 2008, we work with the digital items and the 3D printings, and we create our own digital printing machines, and how could innovation help us to bridge. But I think the most thing through the past 10 years that I've learned with the abuse of the word innovation into the market, like similar to the word of sustainability, is how would you innovate in the relation with the people through the design or through the education. On our small level scale, let's just last summer, we've sent 3 students to have their training in Los Angeles between SciArc Institute and some of the LA-based offices. Not just only the students, even the people who work with us, because we believe in innovating that kind of a bridge will fill up a lot of gap that it is missing in the market. Let's speak the reality. A lot of the talent that you have in the offices, they are missing the skills and the grinta and the ability to stand up for the decision and to create. And that's what makes a decision maker steps back away. So how could we innovate into changing that ability to bring it to a higher level of a decision action? Yes, innovation comes from the technology, from people, from all of these things. But if we didn't create that society and that culture and that oasis to harness those minds, bringing them together, we will not get used that much of that innovation into the market. But it is a very important currency.
So if I had, I think what we do in the CAFT is very similar to what everyone else has described. In addition, what CAFT has is an advantage that a lot of us, we're already a neighborhood, so we are already almost like refurbishing, growing an existing neighbor and existing city. So when it comes to technologies and smart solution, we look at how can we enhance the life and experience of our residents, visitors, people who work there. So we have recently launched a CAFT app where you can use to book restaurants, book your parking, etc. We do a smart parking system. We have sort of cameras everywhere, so you're recognized. So we're trying really to extending beyond the single asset, but into the entire neighborhood. We look at we're trying to innovate when it comes to micromobility. How do you move from a different location within CAFT? So I don't know, for those of you familiar, we have a series of what we call, this is not necessarily smart technology, but we have a sort of sky bridges that connect every building. So you can actually walk around the neighborhood without never going outside, which is something that you need to do in the hot summer months. And then we have, sort of Wi-Fi in the public realm. We really extend the technology from the asset into the neighborhood to try and merge the two.
Thank you a lot. Was very passionate panel, and thanks for that. We are over time that they gave to us.
We only just started.
And there is no time for a question, but I would like to see if at least there is one question. Anyone want to raise a question? Who chose? There is only one question, so it's only ladies.
So I want to play the devil's advocate with Ma'an. Man, I'm going to play the devil's advocate with you. So, to the point you made about the frustration, I think most of us agree, and I'm talking about Saudi architects, but it's much more complicated, and I'm talking as someone who has worked in PIF with executive authority and now is in private practice. There has been a shift in the practice of architecture and design in general, in the regulations and rules, in procurement, in the system, the ecosystem that qualifies consultants. And it's been one that is continuously raising the bar. So you're talking to developers who do not have the power to really change that. It's a much bigger problem. It costs much more today to open practice than it did 20 years ago. For those who are in practice and have been doing well, it's very difficult to maintain practice because of the requirements of business. I don't think it's only for architects. Probably retailers have the same issues. The bar has been raised. Do we want the culture of dependency where we're given, advantages because we're Saudis, or do we want to go up with the bar of general quality demand? There has to be some give and take. I think that there's room for improvement in, in government support, in entity support, not just from the private sector. So, it's not a disagreement, but it's a different point of view.
The big brother responsibility is to take the kids to the school. That's all what I can tell you. So you can watch them growing up and they can run on their own.
Thank you, guys. Thanks you for your valuable and challenging insights. Grazie. Ciao.
Thank you very much.
Was it spicy?